Hello again. Welcome to React Holiday Day 6. Can't believe it's been 6 days. I can't believe we're getting just moving so fast towards Christmas. Today is it's been raining here in San Diego, so that's why the hair's wild and free. Scrubbing it up today. Woke up like this. Believe it or not. I know. So yeah, I'm just kind of taking it easy this morning. So we're kind of like in my house. I got some tea, so you can join me with that. Yeah. So today I wanted to, I know that I kind of indicated that we were going to go into the profile, like detail show component for a Pokemon, but I wanted to go one step further into errors. So we're going to do that. So today is, what is it? Day 6. Can't believe it. I have forked this from day 5, and I'm saying gotta catch them all. Now this is going to be about errors, and what I want to show you is kind of a technique for handling errors. Now yesterday we had talked about the way that resources interact with suspense is that, like, if a resource has the value, it'll just return it, right? If it doesn't have the value, but it's pending for whatever reason, it'll throw a promise, effectively. Now, suspense, as long as you wrap that read component in suspense, well, then it knows like, hey, we'll do the fallback and then we'll try again later, effectively. There was another case that we didn't cover, which is throwing an error. So in the case that, like, for a promise, your request resolves, or doesn't resolve, it gets rejected. So it's not waiting anymore. We already know what happened, but it was bad. We didn't get anything. So for that, React has this concept of error boundaries. So first of all, I want to get our app into a failing state. So I'm going to request data from a URL that I know does not exist. So we save that, and immediately we have a problem. Our whole application goes kaput. Now, we can open up the console and see that there is an error, and it has a stack trace, kind of telling you which component rendered the component that caused a problem. However, there's this really helpful error here as well. So consider adding an error boundary to your tree to customize error handling behavior. Visit this URL. We'll click that to learn more about error boundaries. Now, I already had that open, so I can close one of those. Here is everything that you need to know about how React thinks about error boundaries, how to catch errors, what to do with them. And conveniently enough, they have given us a component for like a sample component for handling error boundaries. Now, this is totally customizable, but you can also just start with the one that they give you. So I copied that. We're going to paste that into our code base here. And so now we have a component called error boundary. Now, there's a few items that we're going to have to customize. So we're going to use it first and see what those are. So we're still getting that error. So we need to use it. And just like the suspense component, we need to wrap our whatever we want to wrap the part of the tree where we want to catch those boundaries. So we'll use that error boundary component like so. We'll just kind of wrap the area that has a potential for problem, and we'll wrap that in a component. And so the error goes away, but now we're getting we're getting an error up here. What's the problem? Maybe we just need to refresh. Okay, reference, can't find variable, log error to my service. Now, that sounds like an extremely custom name to me, so I'm going to look at the implementation for our code. And yes, there's a lifecycle method called component did catch. You're going to get an error and info about that error. In that, you can log information to your error handling service. Now, maybe your application doesn't have one. Maybe it's kind of young and doesn't need that. Maybe it does. Maybe you use something like, there's a bunch of them. I think Sentry is one of them. Bugsnag is another one. One where you can send errors and error data to a service and use that to kind of collect feedback about where your app is failing. Now, you could do that here. And all of those services have a JavaScript API for logging, for sending errors back home. Now, for us, we don't have a service set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to say console.error. And we're just going to send that error to the console. Perfect. So we see now that we have full control over the messaging of this error. So we can do other stuff. So, hiya. So we can log, other things along with that error if we wanted to use the data inside of this error object to customize a message, all kinds of stuff. Like the world is your oyster. So that's the first thing. You can use this to send messages. Now, what you'll notice is that now our app renders, which is really cool. So this part of the app was not problematic, right? So that was fine. And now, instead of our whole app blowing up, that still works. Great. And then the part where we had an error, that's where we say something went wrong. Now, so you're asking, where did this something went wrong come from? Well, it happens in the render method of our error boundary. Now, like I said, this is customizable. So we could say something went terribly, I don't know if that's how you spell terribly. What a weird word. Something went terribly wrong, right? Now, it's very possible that you want to customize this on a per view basis. So in the same way that we're doing that with suspense. Now we could do that, and this isn't a great idea, but let's say we want to not have to memorize more APIs than we have to, and so we will just call this fallback, right? We want to be able to provide some fallback messaging if something bad happened. So we'll say div, oops. Man, I can't think of something to say. Oops. We'll just say oops. Oops. Pokemon got away. That's actually a terrible message because it's absolutely not descriptive for the user, but whatever. I'm just showing you how to implement it. So now, if we want to, we can say, so right here, we're returning something went terribly wrong. So we can change this to this.props.fallback. Oops, Pokemon got away. Awesome. Now, maybe you also want a default message. So if that doesn't exist, so if it does exist, we'll do this.props.fallback. If it doesn't exist, we'll just do that same message. What was it? Div something went wrong. Okay, so then if we go back down here and we were to delete that fallback, we see something went wrong again. Anyway, so that is error boundaries. I really encourage you to so first implement it. Kind of give yourself an opportunity to have a custom message, and then here. Just read through this. There is some really good information and great advice here. There's also stuff that's going to help you be able to read those component stack traces, which is an incredibly valuable skill to have when you are debugging an application and something went wrong, being able to find your way back to where that bug initiated. Man, there's just a bunch of stuff here. So check this page out. It is, let's see, so it's the error boundaries page. If you just go up here and search error boundaries, introduction to error boundaries is going to take you right to it. So go save some of your component trees from bad error handling, and I'll see you tomorrow.